Are you gonna start?
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Brian.
I'm Crystal.
And we are Vanhalla Adventures.
So you might have noticed that we are not in a van right now. If you are new around here or you haven't caught up on our latest episodes, then we basically had our van break down recently. I was alone in the middle of the desert and you know, short and sweet is that the engine blew. And we could have been a lot more prepared than we were for something like that, even if it wasn't as catastrophic as our event. So that's really why we wanted to make this video about how to be more prepared for emergencies and repairs during van life. First and foremost, when you live in your van, it is your house. That was a concern that we've got definitely like on our van tour. People were like, you're gonna live in your van and you got rid of everything. Like, wonder if something breaks down. And this is something that I think a lot of people get nervous about, but we wanted to bring it up because like, yeah, that's definitely something to think about is you live in your van, which is your house. And so if you break down and it has to get repaired, you don't really have anywhere to live. But I would also say on that note is that you also don't have a mortgage, rent, property taxes, utilities in the same way as you would in a house. So a house is a lot more expensive to maintain just in general. And I think a lot more stressful. I mean, you can still have things happen to your house. Tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, your ceiling collapse. Like, I don't know, we've had weird stuff happen in houses too. So just want to put that out there, just kind of like ease your mind on the anxiety. But yeah, let's jump into all the 7 tips.
Yeah, so there's 4 main areas, things you need to think about. 1 is if your van breaks down, where's it gonna go? 2, how are you gonna get it there? 3, how are you gonna pay for it? And 4, where are you gonna sleep when all this is going on?
Yeah. So tip number 1 is know how to get a hold of help. This might seem like a no-brainer because you're assuming you have cell phone reception. When I broke down, I was very thankful that I had cell phone reception at the time, but it's very common when you live the van life that you're gonna be off-grid a lot and you never know what's gonna happen. And the one thing we hadn't really considered is how are you gonna get a hold of somebody if you're broken down kind of in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone reception?
Yeah, our van is so new. We never thought our van would break down, so we didn't we didn't really prepare for this, so that's why this video is happening now.
One thing we just ordered was the Garmin InReach Mini. A couple of my friends have it for hiking, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna get that for like when I'm hiking alone. But now that I think about it, it's like, that would be so incredibly useful. So if I had been stranded in the woods, I could send an SOS. That would be for more of an emergency signal if I was looking for somebody to basically come rescue me, which of course might be needed. You never know, maybe you could be having a flood or something like that. And your van gets stuck. But you can also send text messages out, and it also has tracking, so you can send somebody your location and be able to send somebody a text message. And this would have to do with your emergency contact, which hopefully you've put together prior, maybe a few different emergency contacts of people that are usually readily available.
Make sure you have somebody that has your information that you can just rely on at a given notice, and they're ready to go and help you out.
Send a text message saying, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm gonna need a tow, or I'm gonna need this or that. You're probably gonna be waiting for a little bit no matter what it is. So just be ready for that, but you definitely need a location device. It's like top of our list right now. It's like, we're gonna be ready for off-grid emergencies all the time now.
Yeah, because we're van lifers and we like to live off-grid, so you're gonna need one of these things if something goes wrong.
If you are not off-grid and you're like, well, I have cell phone reception, that's not a big deal. First thing you're gonna wanna do is drop a pin so that you know exactly where you're at and send it to friends, loved ones, somebody, your emergency contacts. So that is tip number 1, is be ready for an off-grid rescue situation.
All right. Tip number 2, AAA roadside service. Again, want to reiterate that you have an emergency contact person that has your AAA information. So with that said, if you're gonna get AAA, you're gonna get the premium RV service. That's the top of the top service. Because if you have a van, RV, camper van, they will not accept you if they show up and you have
an oversized vehicle.
Yeah, because they need to send the right equipment to handle your heavy camper van.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got the premium RV insurance, and no, it's the premium RV service. we have the premium RV AAA service, which allows 200 miles of towing 4 times per person on the account.
Per year.
Per year. There's 2 of us on the account. So we get 8 times we can call AAA and get our van towed 200 miles. So we can get towed 1,600 miles, almost halfway across the country in 1 year, if we really had to, but hopefully.
And I think what
not.
you basically can do, like if you were really far and you could like call the next day and keep getting tows, like if you really were like, oh, I got like 500, 600 miles to go.
Yeah.
You could actually keep getting those tows.
Once you buy the premium RV or any AAA service, you have to wait 5 days for it to kick in. So the bottom AAA service is 5 miles towing. So if you buy the premium RV that has 200 miles towing, you're only going to get 5 miles per call for the first 5 days. So to wrap up this, premium RV, know the weight of your van because they're going to ask you because they need to send the right equipment. Have an emergency contact person that can help you out if you need it. And make sure you already have the AAA service before your incident because it takes 5 days to kick in. So just get it now.
Yeah, don't wait. It's a great Christmas present. If you're watching this because one of your loved ones is starting van life, this is an amazing present to give to them. How much was our AAA? Like $250?
It was $250.
So one thing to know about AAA too is that sign up in the state that you have your permanent address, but know that the rates that they give you for tows and different things can be different in different states.
Yeah, there's different like rules from state to state on what they do and what they don't do, and how much it costs per mile after you exceeded your allotted tow miles. It just depends on the state you're in.
The only reason we mentioned this is because once we went over the miles, like we got 2 different quotes, and that's because we called Washington, which was cheaper than California. So I just want to put that out there. So if you see a difference in those amounts that you're quoted, that's why. It's not because they're scamming you. It's because you actually have to check what the state you're getting the tow in.
Chances are the AAA number you have is the one that you registered in whatever state. So when you call that number, tell them what state you're currently in where the trouble is happening. Yeah. And then they will reconnect you to that state.
Yes. Okay, tip number 3 is thinking about where you're going to stay. And this is something you can semi-plan ahead. So first and foremost is think about having your emergency contact or several emergency contacts, possibly even in different places wherever you are. Like we're in the US, we have a couple people we could call, thankfully, but I would also think about talking to people when you're setting out on your van life journey is, hey, like if something were to ever happen to me and my repairs are gonna take a very long time, would it be possible for me to fly back, visit you, whatever? Do you have a room I could stay in for like a week, 2 weeks, a month? So think about that. Also, when you're getting your tow, you're gonna have to think about where you're going, right? So your nearest mechanic, that's what we were looking at, or a dealership. So one thing you can do if you're like, I'm not quite sure how much the repair is gonna be, I'm not quite sure I have enough funds for hotels, Airbnbs, and I don't wanna fly back until I know, is you can ask the mechanic that you're taking it to is if you can stay there at night. So what was great for me is right when I broke down, the mechanic was like, you can stay in my lot. That's totally fine. I stayed there overnight. This guy was super chill about it. But when we did take it to the dealership, because that mechanic couldn't repair it, they said I couldn't stay there overnight because they had a closed like fence-in lot. Yeah. So I think dealerships are gonna generally be a little bit more strict about things like that, or anything where they're having like fencing, high levels of vandalism, that sort of stuff. But it's worthy of asking, like especially if it's gonna be a quick repair of 1 to 2 days, it's like go hang out at coffee shops, go do whatever you want, go hiking for a couple days, and then come back at night and stay in your van. That's a really inexpensive way to do it.
Another thing I just thought of is if you have camping gear, you just go camping somewhere.
Yeah, go camping.
Job done, even cheaper.
That's actually a really great idea. Another one to use is think about reaching out to the van life community. My experience especially has been in the solo female van life community on Facebook and on YouTube is that people are very generous. So even posting in like if there's a couple YouTube channels that you're always watching, like, hey, this is what's happening to me. Does anybody have one? If you don't have the funds to get it repaired, that you can say, hey, does anybody have a yard, a driveway that I could park in for this amount of time? You know, you could even offer to pay a small amount, whatever that is, work something out with somebody. Also go into Facebook groups. The Facebook groups are actually really amazing. Like for us, I was even offered somebody else's van to live in. Thank you all so so much. Like I had so many offers of where to go when I was trying to figure this out without Brian. There's also the Seeker app, which is SEKR. It used to be known as the Van Life app, but you can connect with other van lifers in your area. Maybe you could even hitch a ride with them to go somewhere else. So that's something to think about. One other option that is kind of something you would need to set up definitely in advance is couchsurfing.com. I don't know if it's still around. I'm just going to put that out there, but it's something I used when I was an activist. I did couch surfing all around the country, and I stayed on people's, like, it's not just on a couch. It was usually in somebody's like extra spare bedroom, and I didn't have to pay rent because I was doing something in the area. You can reach out in the Seeker app, and if there's other van lifers in your area, be like, I'm going to camp, but I don't really have cooking gear. Could I like kind of use your kitchen and camp like near you? The van life community is super awesome. So just keep that in mind is where you're going to go. But if you're going to have to fly somewhere like we did, because we're getting a whole new engine, is that it was going to take a while. So we were offered a place to stay. So we were going to fly, which leads us to our next tip.
Number 4, rack up those air miles. Fortunately for me, I travel a lot for work, so I'm always flying, so that kind of makes it easy. But another way to do that is to have airline credit cards, which we also do have. And
we use it for most of our monthly expenses. We use it.
Yeah, so you're going to use your debit card anyways, probably. Why not just put the money that you're going to use in your debit card and pay off your airline credit card and just keep using your airline credit card. And so you just rack up those miles. Even if you're not flying, you can just use that card, and then next thing you know, at the end of the year, you can go fly somewhere. Or if you have an emergency, like we did, use those miles and fly somewhere safe until your van gets fixed.
Yeah, so we're not saying for sure go get a credit card if that's not like a good thing for you.
Right.
But definitely I think it's worth looking into to get airline miles, and just make sure that you pay it off every month. Like we have miles on every single like airline now. So like we flew here for free, and I was able to get first class, which is really awesome. And we're going to fly back, and I think we're going to be able to get first class back too, and for 2 tickets. So that's pretty awesome that we're not going to have to pay for flights. So we basically were able to travel for free.
And we use Alaska Airlines card, and what's cool about that, not only do we get, every dollar is a mile on there, so it's mile per dollar.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, once a year, if you do the companion fare, if you buy a plane ticket, there's 2 of us. We buy a plane ticket for like, I don't know, $200, whatever. The next ticket is $99 no matter what. Even if my ticket was $1,000, her ticket would be $99. So it's a good perk.
Look in those credit cards, see if any appeal to you, and if it's a good financial decision for you.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our next tip, which has to do with finances. Number 5 is start an emergency savings account, fund, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of people assume that van life is going to save you a lot of money, but it also can be quite costly sometimes. It really just depends on how you live. So no matter what you're doing, you're going to need an emergency fund. At some point, you're going to have repairs for your van. I don't know one person that hasn't had to put some sort of money into their van.
Yeah.
No matter if they have like a super high class Sprinter or they have something from like the 1970s.
Yeah, it's just like being a homeowner. Something's going to happen. You're going to have to fix something.
Yeah, so make sure that you are consistently putting away into your emergency fund. I know a lot of people also get into van life to pay off debt, but make sure that while you're paying off debt, you're not totally forgetting about your savings as well. I want to put it out there too, because I know sometimes it can feel like for some people, like, I just can't get ahead. There's no way I can start savings. There's a really good book by Tony Robbins called Money Master the Game. And it is a phenomenal book about no matter how much money you make, you can start a savings account, you can start investing, you can really start having that emergency fund for yourself. We listen to it on Audible because it's a ginormous book. So we just listen to it on road trips. It's just such a great book. Like, we're not paid by Tony Robbins or anything. Yeah, he just has such great financial advice from so many people in the financial world. So
no matter what level you're on.
Yeah, so we'll put some information about like Audible and the book down below so you can check it out. Start your emergency savings account. You're going to need it. At least have a few thousand packed away in there. So number 6 is make sure to have all your insurance bases covered. So a lot of van lifers that we have talked to do not have RV insurance. So let's say your breakdown involves like actual damage to your van conversion. You're gonna wanna make sure your conversion is covered, so get RV insurance.
Oh yeah.
Too many people that we talk to don't have RV insurance on their van. Everybody's gonna be different in what that looks like, so just shop around, start calling people in your state that you have your permanent address. Another thing you're gonna wanna do is make sure you have renter's insurance in case anything was not covered with inside your van, things like laptops, electrical equipment.
Stuff happens all the time. People breaking into people's vans, and stealing. Everybody, a lot of van lifers, vloggers have a lot of expensive gear in their vans. And you can get that covered just from renter's insurance.
So the other one that we have heard, we haven't checked into this, but we are going to this week, is homeowners insurance, is because your van is your home. And so homeowners insurance is somebody did tell us on this channel that it can actually cover the engine sometimes. We can't say for sure, but I think it's worth looking into. So that's something we're gonna look into, but at least get RV insurance and renter's insurance to cover some of those extra things. Make sure you always have that because your breakdown, like you said, could happen because of a collision, something else.
Yeah, must have.
Must have.
Yeah. Number 7 is luggage. Gotta have luggage. Crystal broke down. She had no luggage when she left the van because I had the only luggage bag because I was traveling for work.
It made it a lot more stressful. It racks up your financial bill, so to speak, if you have a breakdown, because I was somewhere where there wasn't a lot of department stores or anything like that, so I had to take an Uber across the side of town, go to Walmart, which doesn't have the best luggage, pick up the luggage, then I had to take an Uber back, pack up everything, and when you have everything going on, like maybe you're staying at a mechanic temporarily, which I was also waiting for a tow, so I had to like time everything out because it was running all over town because of this. And then the tow truck was like...
All of a sudden, all these logistics just go...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just want to be prepared. So we're going to leave a link to the luggage that we prefer because you don't really want those large luggage pieces. Like that's what we bought from Walmart because they didn't have any good like solid duffels. The one that I bought literally broke right when I got it. So we bought some really great rolling duffel bags.
They get flat. They get flat.
They get flat, which makes it like the one that we have fits perfectly within our
Thule storage. Yeah, so basically everything in that Thule storage will go into that duffel bag because it's 130 liters and it fits perfectly in our Thule storage. And then when I take the bag out, I empty the bag, put everything back in there, and then I can put whatever I want in there. And I use compression bags. Yeah. Compression bags are a huge help because you don't have to sit there and fold all your clothes. They're already rolled up. You just boom, boom, throw them in there, out.
Yeah, because time might be of the essence when you're doing these repairs. It might be somewhere where you're like, I need to get out of here really fast to catch your flight or go somewhere else because you're waiting. You just don't want to have to take a lengthy process. So the compression bags are also very useful. So make sure you at least have one duffel or maybe just a large backpack. That'll work too. But just make sure you have something where you can pack up and leave the van because
at any given moment.
Yeah, because even if you're not having a breakdown, you could have an emergency where you're like, I got to get out of here, and you're going to want to have your essentials. So that, get your Garmin InReach Mini and get your luggage and get out of there. I think that pretty much covers everything that we believe would be a pretty much good emergency preparedness in terms of a breakdown. Not necessarily everything you would need in terms of you get stuck somewhere, which we might do a different video about. Let us know if that's of interest to you. How did you feel about this video? Were these tips helpful? Let us know below. Or if there's anything that we missed that you think would be super helpful, put in the comments because I know people read through the comments and we all want to, support our van life community. Yeah. So make it a lot easier for you. Make sure to give you that peace of mind. But that wraps this up. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And if you haven't already done so, if you want to help support our channel, please give this video a like, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you know that might be starting van life or that could use these tips.
Great. And click the bell to get notifications.
Yeah.
All right. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Has your AAA insurance, AAA service, roadside service, nope.